Man, are we living in an unprecedented time? There are just so many things going on right now that very easily can cause us to feel anxious and full of panic and anger and sadness and fear. And what if everything that was happening in the world right now was happening for another higher purpose? What if it was all happening in order to force us to wake up to who we really are? We all are so used to living our lives thinking that we are our thoughts, that our thoughts create our identity, or our thoughts define us. If we think it, that's who we are, that's who I am. If I think this thought, that must mean that's because that's me. And I'm here to share with you that is not the case. And we are so used to living in our mind constantly, from thought to thought to thought. I recently heard the term that our thinking happens involuntarily, that we're not consciously doing it, just like our bodies are involuntarily digesting our food, breathing. It's the same thing with thinking. It's not us consciously creating these thoughts. These thoughts are being fed to us by a program that is our subconscious and that we have no control over. So if you are someone who believes that our thoughts have something to do with our reality, including our own body and our own health, then by thinking thoughts and identifying with the thoughts that we're thinking that cause us to be living in a state of either stress, some sort of stress, either anxiety, depression, sadness, anger, jealousy, resentment, whatever our thoughts cause the emotion in our body, because every thought causes an emotion, whatever that emotion is the vibrational frequency that we're living in, that we're emanating into the world. So what if all of this was happening? Because normally we wake up from challenge. Challenge causes people to wake up to who they really are. Who we really are is not our body or our minds, it's our soul. Our soul, we are spiritual beings here living in a human experience. And yet so many of us are so disconnected to our true self. And many times it takes a real challenge in order to force us to go inward and get connected to our soul. So what if all of this was happening in order for us to connect to our soul, to our spiritual part of us? And in order to do that, it takes being aware of our thoughts, being aware that just because we have a thought does not mean that we need to identify ourselves with our thoughts. Part of this whole process is also becoming more present in our daily lives, becoming more present instead of allowing our thoughts to drive our human existence, being more present in the moment. Most of us live in thoughts of the past, thinking about things that have happened in the past and usually judging ourselves for it, or worried about something in our future. Am I going to be able to pay my bills? Am I going to be able to make this deadline? We all are constantly consumed in thoughts about the past, about the future. And when we are choosing to be in the present moment and not allow the thoughts to identify with who we are being, notice the thoughts and not have judgment for the thoughts, because it's not our creation. It's something that's being fed to us. Noticing the thoughts pass by. I know that it sounds maybe a little bit bizarre to you or maybe a little bit unreachable, but it's very reachable for each one of us. And it just takes practice. So what if everything that was going on in our world is happening in order to cause a global awakening? Because that is what it's really going to take to rise above all of what's happening in our world and create a new world. So I wanted to put this message out there because I really believe that this is the case, and I know that we can do it. That's what's exciting about it. I know that we can do it, and I'm here to spread the message and to help anybody who could use a little help in becoming more present and becoming more aware of their thoughts and becoming less identified with your thoughts. If you're someone who finds yourself constantly caught up in emotions that don't feel good, like fear and anxiety and depression or panic or sadness or anger, any of those thoughts are a result of programming in our mind and identifying with these thoughts that are constantly being fed to us. But we don't have to live our lives that way. And that is what causes stress in the body, and that is what causes illness and disease, as well as dysfunctional relationships and things like that. So if you are at a point where you are ready for a change and you know that there's got to be something more, I'd love to hear from you, because that's what I am determined to do with all of my clients and the people who I associate with, is to help each other to wake up to who we really are and to live our lives more present and to really become that higher part of who we are, that higher self, someone who no longer is dictated by the thoughts that are being fed to us, and instead create our reality, create our health, create the relationships that we want. So if this resonates with you, I'd love to hear from you. You can subscribe so you'll get messages, notifications whenever I post a new video. And you can also reach out by commenting underneath this, and let's create a dialogue. I'm going to be hosting a workshop in the near future, a free workshop. So if you're interested in becoming a part of that, just message or comment below, and I'll send you the information as soon as it becomes available. All right, and in the meantime, even if you just take 5 minutes of your day to just sit in stillness and observe the world around you without feeding into all the judgments, just notice without judgment, just notice everything. That's interesting. That is taking the first step into a spiritual awakening. So I hope that this video served you, and I wish you beautiful blessings today, and being aware of all of the beauty and the kindness and the love and all of the wonderful things that exist in our world around us. That is what I hope and I wish for you to give your attention to today. Take care.